Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Thank you for joining us to learn more about the Johns Hopkins School of Education and our Master of Science in Intelligence Analysis. My name is Andrew Goolsby-Cole, and I'm the Assistant Director of Admissions for the Johns Hopkins School of Education. Joining me tonight is the Director of Federal Programs and Coordinator for the Intelligence Analysis Program in the Johns Hopkins School of Education Division of Public Safety Leadership, Bascom Talley III. Also joining us is the program coordinator, Tammy Pedrick. So thank you all so much for being here tonight. We're really excited to be talking more about this program so you can see if it's a great fit for you. I'm sure you'll decide that it is. So before we get started, or as we're getting started, I wanted to do a brief overview of the School of Education. We are one of 9 schools at the Johns Hopkins University. We began as the college courses for teachers in 1909, and after many iterations, we became our own school and were named the Johns Hopkins School of Education in 2007. So we are celebrating our 10-year anniversary this year, which is very exciting. The school enrolls approximately 2,600 students that take classes at our locations in Baltimore and Columbia, Maryland, and also online. We are accredited by NCATE and KCREP, and all programs that lead to licensure are approved by the Maryland State Department of Education. The School of Education is well acclaimed. We are consistently ranked one of the top schools of education by the U.S. News and World Report's ranking of top graduate schools of education. We were also recently ranked 15th in the world by the 2018 Times Higher Education World University Rankings. So those are quite impressive rankings. We have approximately 130 faculty members. Students here come from very diverse professional backgrounds. They could be pursuing a career change. Some are recent college graduates, while others are experienced educators and counselors looking for professional growth and development. About 74% of our students are women, and the remaining 26% are men. And the overall average age for students here in the School of Education is 29. So now that you're all acquainted with the Johns Hopkins School of Education, I am going to turn it over to Tammy.
Thanks, Andrew. Welcome to all attendees at this webinar. We have 3 programs that we offer in the Division of Public Safety Leadership. The Bachelor of Science in Organizational Leadership, the Master of Science in Organizational Leadership, which is offered both face-to-face and online, as well as the Master of Science in Intelligence Analysis. That's the one that we are focusing on today. And I'd like to take this time to turn you over to Did Talley, who will talk about the program in greater detail.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us, and I'm pleased to spend some time with you and giving you an overview of the program, its structure, its content. Then Andrew will talk to you about some of the mechanics of applying, and then we'll be available to answer any questions that you have. So we look forward to it. The Master of Science in Intelligence Analysis program is done in slightly less than 2 years in a 36-credit graduate program, which is to say 12 3-credit courses. Our courses meet every other Saturday, and in the current format, we offer 2 face-to-face classes and 1 online class in a semester. The program is designed for current analysts, that is to say people who are working in the intelligence community or in the law enforcement arena, or perhaps working for contractors supporting the intelligence community or one of the law enforcement agencies. We use both tradecraft and analytic skills, but our focus is on the leadership development of the individuals and creating within them the skills to provide leadership for organizational improvement. We are, as it says at the bottom, in the middle of a transition so that we can have a fully online program. And under an ideal scenario, we'll be running both a face-to-face cohort as well as a fully online cohort. Our program is for working professionals. That is to say, 2 campus classes meet every other Saturday, and then in the middle of that semester, there is an online class that will be offered in a 10-week format. We're currently located and will continue to be located at the Columbia, Maryland campus, which is just off I-95 at Route 175. So for those of you familiar with the area, we're just north of Fort Meade, somewhat south of BWI Airport, and we're at exit 42 Baker on I-95. We have, for the past 22 years, functioned in a cohort model basis, which begins each January, and students in that cohort progress through the program together as a group. The curriculum is based on current research, best practices, and national professional standards that prepare our students to be successful. And I look forward to speaking with you later in the program about some of the success that our students have had. One of the great attributes that the cohort model offers is the ability of students to collaborate and network with each other across the traditional stovepipes within the intelligence community. Our vision beginning 12 years ago was to create within the Intel community the opportunity for people to communicate across these traditional stovepipes in a way that would allow them to collaborate and solve problems. I said it would take us 10 years to get to the point where that would happen, and we have just begun to see the first glimmers of people being able to reach across very traditional hard-won stovepipes and silos to classmates that they spent 2 years with, saying, hey, can you help me out with this? If you're not the person who can get me information on this, who in your agency can help me? And we now have some information from our graduates that lets us know this process is working. We know it works. We've done it in the public sector and the public safety arena quite successfully for more than 22 years. And we're pleased to see it beginning to work within the Intel community. The cohort model is one that provides many benefits to the existing students. As you can see from the image we have on the screen in front of you, there's a supportive learning environment that gets created, and it's absolutely student-centered. Our faculty, and we'll speak more about them in a minute, are working professionals that bring the experience of their day jobs to the classroom. So this student-centered environment is a very dynamic, interactive environment. Lots of papers, lots of presentations, lots of work that mirrors the activities that actually happen within the environment of the Intel agencies. And that's one of the strong benefits that our faculty bring to this particular program. Over time, students develop very strong bonds, both in terms of their ability to communicate with each other, their ability to cooperate with each other, and there's a real sense of cohesiveness that by the time folks graduate after having spent this time together, they really are a real family and support and nurture each other. The professional networking that we've talked about, the team building, the community building that takes place is absolutely excellent. You can't replicate that. There's no way to shortcut that. You build that a course at a time, a session at a time, brick by brick by brick, and it's an incredibly strong foundation. In terms of the curriculum, so what will you be taking if you elect to join us? During year one, and again, these are offered in semesters, so think of the first 3 courses as the courses you'll take in the first semester. The first course you'll have is called Applied Critical Thinking. And we offer that first for a couple of reasons. One, there's an ethical component to it, and we want you to have that as part of the foundation for the program. The Leadership and Organizational Behavior class, the second class, has been taught by a man who spent his years working at the CIA and teaching at the Sherman Kent School. And that's followed by our analytical writing class, which is currently offered in a face-to-face format. Diana Rasky teaches that for us. Diana is a graduate of Cohort 1, and she has, through the years, progressed so that she's now a director at her company. Her company has been through several different transitions, and when she joined us, she was working for John Brennan, who helped us set up the program, and she was one of the people that he supported in coming to the initial cohort. So we're honored to have her as a graduate and as a part of our faculty. The second semester includes the next 3 courses in year 1, strategic thinking. Ambassador Lino Gutierrez teaches that one for us. Ambassador Gutierrez has served our country in both Nicaragua and Portugal as our ambassador there. And one of the great assets that Lino brings to the course is he wants students to think about the intelligence process from the perspective of the user. He's always stressing that you got to put yourself in the position of the person that's making use of the products that you produce, because the person who's making use of the products that you produce is the person who's going to be making tough decisions, sometimes including life and death decisions. So he wants you thinking very specifically about the end user. The Terrorism Concepts, Threats, and Delivery course is one that we just retooled, and I'm absolutely thrilled and excited about what's going to be happening. We have, again, a career CIA person who's going to be teaching that class for us. And Rob has designed the class so that the case study method he'll be using, looking at specific groups, will focus on an understanding of the strategic modeling of the groups, the financing modeling of the groups, the structure of the groups, the governance of the groups, and he'll have each student take some time to do an analysis of an organization that they select after having worked on one broadly in class together. Another feature of this class that's going to be a lot of fun is that Rob has got the assignments of this class scheduled around the actual kind of assignments that folks do on the job in the community. The delivery of very short, bottom line, upfront briefings to providers and to decision makers. The last class in this second semester, the last class of the first year, is one called Special Issues in Intelligence Analysis. And this is a course in which the students begin the capstone process in a formal way. During this class, you will be taught how to complete a capstone proposal. You will select a capstone topic. You'll be given coaching on the development of the proposal. You'll be given feedback on that proposal. You'll have an opportunity to modify and perfect that proposal. And on the last day of that class, you will present your capstone research proposal to a panel of 3 faculty members who will give you feedback on your ability to proceed with that research. And they will either say, yes, proceed, or here's some things we want you to take account of before you proceed. And at that point, you'll be handed off to your faculty advisor, and you'll work with that advisor so that within the next month you submit an approved research proposal, and you'll spend the next year working on that approved capstone proposal. We also do a few other kind of fun things during that class. One of the special features of this Special Issues in Intelligence class is I have you participate in the capstone briefings of the senior class who's gone before you. And the reason I do that is I want you to be able to see what that process looks like. I want you to observe that you can live through it. And I want you to have the opportunity to read and critique some of those papers to get a sense of how it's possible for you to be successful in the process. So the Special Issues in Intelligence Analysis class is a really important class that begins the year-long process of your capstone research project. In year 2, when you come back in January, you'll start with the art and science of decision making that Kevin Cross teaches for us. And in that class, you'll be looking at a variety of decision making models, and you'll be exploring which ones of those are applicable for you to use in your particular research. So you'll get a smorgasbord of models to look at, a number of different research methods and approaches to consider, all designed to help you move forward with your capstone proposal. That's followed by our most technical class, the Structured Analytic Techniques class. And again, we're going to cover a variety of SATs, and you'll be able to select from among those structured analytic techniques the ones that are going to be most helpful to you in successfully completing your research. Then we have kind of a fun class. I call it a fun class. It's called the History of Espionage, and Jared Stafford teaches that for us. That's a class in which you kind of push the chair back from the table and take a look at the history of the profession. Intelligence analysis is an emerging profession, but it has a very long and very rich history. And we think if you're going to be in the profession, you should have some familiarity with and some awareness of its rich history. A special feature of that class is we focus on and take a field trip to Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, where we look on the battlefield at some of the intelligence issues that helped shape the outcome of that important battle in the U.S. Civil War. That class is also followed by a ethics of belief class in which you look at different ethical belief structures, and again, designed to support you in doing your capstone research. Next comes the case studies and intelligence analysis class, where we have the opportunity to look at even some contemporary issues. And we do that through the discipline of case studies. And again, you're able to bounce the work we do in that class off of the work you're now doing, because you're very far along in your capstone research at this point. And then finally, your last class is the capstone class itself. And this is a class where you will have completed your capstone paper. You will have submitted your second draft before this class begins. You'll be given both your advisor feedback and your capstone instructor feedback on the content of your paper. You'll get peer feedback from your colleagues as well as colleagues in the other cohort. And you'll bring that research paper to a final form which is suitable for publication. It's at that standard. You'll also, during that class, develop a briefing on the content of your research, the content of your findings, and you'll practice that particular briefing. And on the last day of that class, you will deliver that briefing in front of a live audience of other students, faculty members, invited guests, and members of the Intel community. There's a fair amount of pressure associated with that, but the pressure is realistic pressure because it's exactly the kind of pressure you're going to face in the workplace. And the last day you spend with us will be the day you successfully deliver your capstone briefing. So that's an overview of our course curriculum over the 2 years. Some examples of some previous capstone titles: Improving Army Training to Better Train Intelligence Analysts, We had one student who looked at the Patriot Act and unpatriotic acts in the post 9/11 world. Another person did a magnificent paper on looking at the economic interests that link Hezbollah to Russia. Again, and her focus was looking at the financial model that makes Hezbollah work and how it's linked back to Russia. We had another student that did some exploring millennials using open source intelligence to improve policing. Clearly a law enforcement focused capstone paper for that person. The road to radicalization is another one. Best practices in detecting homegrown terrorists before they strike. Clearly that's a topic of current and critically important interests. And negotiating autocracy in a nuclear deal, the internal politicking of the Iran decisions. So again, that's a smattering of the kinds of topics that students selected a year ago. A quote from Diana Rasky, I mentioned her earlier, who finished in Cohort 1. She says, I like the program's practical professional focus. Everything we do is designed to enhance a student's ability to make real-world contributions to the field of intelligence analysis. Such contributions require not only knowledge and technical skills, but leadership skills as well. I think the curriculum strikes the right balance, she says, among those three things and explores leadership concepts in an appropriately tailored way. We like that quote, and we think it describes our program well. Why would you want to choose our particular program? The MS and Intelligence Analysis program that we offer is aimed at leaders within the intelligence community and those who aspire to lead. The faculty in the Intelligence Analysis program includes enhancing analytical skills, building creativity, and it improves communications between analysts and policymakers. And again, as you'll see, the faculty in the program include leading experts, practitioners, researchers in government, military law, academia, and the nonprofit sector. Students learn from a cadre of real-world guest lecturers within the intelligence community and other professionals, which adds a practical dimension to the classroom. I can't go a week without seeing one of our guest lecturers show up on the televisions around here doing a spot for one of the networks. It's quite common to see folks that have been in your classroom being called upon. And we have a list of those presenters that we've invited in if you'd like to see that. Let me turn you back to Andrew, who's going to talk with you for a few minutes about the mechanics of applying and how you get to join us. Andrew?
Thank you, Dit. So now I'm just going to go over the application requirements. New cohorts begin each spring. Our next cohort will be starting on January 20th, so get your applications in. But the program does review applications on a rolling basis. So if you were to apply now, you could expect to hear back within a few weeks. It is important to allow up to 4 weeks for your application to be reviewed. So be sure to get all your materials in at least a month before the start of the semester in which you plan to enroll. So if you are hoping to start this coming spring semester by I would say the 3rd week of December would be a great time to get your applications in by. Of course, sooner is always better than later. Applicants must submit their completed application, which you can find on our website, an $80 application fee. After you submit your application, we'll send you a confirmation email, and in that email you'll receive instructions on how you can upload many of your supporting documents using our student information system. There's a self-service portal that you'll have access to as an applicant. This means that it's important that you provide an accurate email address that you check regularly. this is how we will communicate with you throughout the application process. Once you have access to the self-service portal, you'll need to upload a current resume or CV and a disposition survey, which is Johns Hopkins School of Education 5-question short answer response questionnaire that you can find on our website. It will also be emailed to you with the receipt of your application. You also need to provide 2 letters of recommendation, which can either be mailed or emailed to us directly from your recommenders, or you can also upload them yourself to our system. It is important that if your recommender is okay with sending you a copy of the letter and having you upload it yourself, we do need their physical signature on that letter. So that means that the recommender will likely need to print out the letter, sign it, and then scan it so it's available electronically. Without that physical signature, we can't consider those recommendations official, and that could delay the processing of your application while we wait for your official letters. You'll also need to submit an essay or personal statement. The prompt for this is on our website, but it will also be emailed to you once you submit your application. So all of this information will be emailed to you, but as you're planning ahead, this is what you can expect to be preparing as you complete your applications. We will, of course, need your official transcripts, which we can receive through the mail or electronically if your previous institutions are able to send transcripts electronically. So when you're looking at the registrar's website or calling their offices, you can ask which methods they provide transcripts. Electronically is usually quicker. It's oftentimes cheaper as well if your school does charge for your transcripts. So be sure to ask about sending transcripts electronically. Lastly, please note, you must be a U.S. citizen to be eligible for this program.
Andrew, can I jump in here and support you in terms of the transcripts comment? It's been our experience that the transcripts frequently are the choke point in the admissions process. And as Andrew points out, if your institution, and we need transcripts from each of the institutions you attended, has the option of sending them electronically, please use that. If they don't, I strongly recommend that you ask them about expedited delivery. And although that may cost you a few bucks, it will save you several weeks of time in our receiving them through priority mail or FedEx or one of those expedited delivery functions. So as a tip, transcripts are the choke point. Andrew says the latest is the 3rd week in December. We'd like you to look at Thanksgiving as the drop dead date, giving us time to consider your application and getting you in. So there's plenty of time to get it done. If you're interested, we'd love for you to get going, and we'd love to be helpful to you. Keep in mind that transcripts typically are the choke point.
Thank you. You can't harp that enough. Transcripts. Okay. So, and that's about it as far as application requirements. If you're admitted and decide to come, then the next big question is, what's the cost? Well, here it is located on this slide. And the current tuition for this program is $1,260 per credit, which means tuition for each course is $3,780, as our courses are all 3 credits. It should be noted that these are current tuition rates, and they will likely change. Every year tuition changes, so we recommend and encourage you to review the full tuition and fees page on our website for the most up-to-date information about tuition and fees, and so that you can understand the complete picture of costs associated with becoming a student here. And check that regularly, as like I said, that will likely change. If you're interested in applying for financial aid, we do encourage that you begin the financial aid application process at the same time you're applying for admission to the program. Please note the priority financial aid application deadlines that are listed right here on this slide. Please visit the financial aid website for specific information regarding the financial aid application process and also eligibility requirements. You do need to be enrolled in a minimum of 4.5 credits per semester to receive federal financial aid, which since we don't have half credit classes or 1.5 credit classes, that would mean you'd need to be enrolled in classes or 6 credits to be eligible for federal financial aid. You will also find contact information on the website for the Office of Financial Aid and more details on loans, grants, scholarships that are available. And the link is located right here at the bottom of the slide. So be sure to jot that down and check out our website for some more specific information. Related to financial aid, if you are a veteran or a family member of a veteran, you may qualify for education benefits. Johns Hopkins University is a participant in the Yellow Ribbon program, and many of our students will use their GI Bills to help pay for their education. So please visit the link on this slide for further information. Okay. If you are interested in getting in contact with admissions or with the program office, you can reach us at the information listed right here. We, in admissions office and the Master of Science in Intelligence Analysis program are located in Columbia, Maryland. So this is the address on the slide that you would use to mail any of your supporting documents, like your transcripts if your school doesn't offer electronic submission, and your recommendation letters if you or your recommenders will be mailing letters directly to us. Also listed here is the contact information for DIT and Tammy, and also the other program coordinator, Carol Herman. So please feel free to reach out to us anytime with your questions. We're more than happy to help. That's what we're here for. We're really excited about this program and about all of our programs here at the School of Education. So don't hesitate to let us know if you have any questions. And that concludes the presentation for this evening. But we do have, we're going to open it up for some questions. We have some time for that. So if you do have any questions and you're attending live this evening, then just use that chat tool, and I'll be monitoring that, and I'll let you know. And through the presentation, we have had a few questions come in, so we'll get right to those. Okay, the first question asks or says, I work in private sector intelligence and am interested in knowing how many students come from this background, and is this program a good fit for my job profile?
You know, it's a great question. And the honest answer to the question is we have not had a lot of people from the private sector. We've had a few. But what's fascinating is we are graduating more and more people that go into the private sector into the Intel components. And 2 of our faculty work in the private sector intelligence arena. We are active participants in SCIP, the Strategic Competitive Intelligence Professionals Association, and we'd love to talk to you. We have worked with intelligence analysts for utility corporations and other private sector entities. So the program content is a great fit. So we'd love to talk to you.
Okay, another question that came in while we were presenting was, what has been the experience of graduates regarding promotions within their organizations once they complete the program?
Mm-hmm. Again, that's a wonderful question to talk about because we've had such significant success, particularly graduates of the cohorts 1, 2, 3, and 4 have had the most time to develop and progress in their own organizations. Some have moved and changed organizations, but the vast majority of our people report that they have moved up either within their organizations or moved up by transferring to other organizations. And these, as I mentioned earlier, are not only within the government, but now increasingly within the private sector. One of our graduates heads the intel function for a major oil company, for example. Another is a director of an intel function for an important cosmetic products organization based in Richmond, Virginia. So we've got lots of people who've made substantial promotions at the now manager and director level within their organizations. But we're pleased about that.
Can you talk briefly about when you're reviewing an application, what do you like to see as far as maybe recommendations or essay? Like what stands out to you?
The gold standard is an application from one of our alums. So if you want to do some networking, give me a call, email me, and I'll put you in contact with people or try to get you connected to people. Frequently, if you're interested in us, you know of people who've gone through the program. So first and foremost, we love to see recommendation letters from people who've been through the program, because we know they know what it's like. They know the drill. And if they're telling us you're fit, we like that a lot. Other recommendations from intelligence professionals, co-workers, bosses, etc., we take those very seriously. We had one student a few years ago who sent us a recommendation letter from General Petraeus. I wasn't sure whether it was real or not, so I checked it out, and indeed it was. He was on General Petraeus' staff, and so I'm happy to receive recommendation letters, but we love the ones that come from alums.
Great. One other question came in. If you are joining us this evening, don't forget to write those questions down in the chat. The question is, do you have options for people who have an interest in joining the Intel community?
Yes, we do, and that's more in what we have planned at the moment. We are working very hard in making a transition for our whole program to an online format. We've now converted, 3 of the courses, and we're working on 2 more, and we'll have them all converted by next year. And that program, when it's fully online, will be open to people who aspire to get into the community. We'll have some program adjustments to accommodate that. So we're looking forward to that. That's probably a year away, to be completely candid. So right now it's for people who are in the community.
Another one, Mr. Talley, can you tell us a bit about your background and entry into the Intel field?
Yes. I've been, I've worked in the Intel community only as a trainer doing leadership development and training. So I've never been employed by one of the Intel agencies, but I've only served as a contractor. I've been at Hopkins for 12 years now, and as director of this program for that period of time. So I've learned a lot in that regard. But I said when I started, I was not an expert in intelligence analysis. I knew a fair amount about people and a fair amount about running programs. But my background is as a social ethicist and as a person with some knowledge and expertise in leadership development and organizational development. So that's my approach to running the program. I let the experts do the talking. I make sure we have the right people in place.
That's great. No other questions have come in, so I think we're going to be ending the presentation. Thank you all so much for joining us this evening. We hope that you found it helpful and informative. I know I did. If you have any questions in the future, like I said earlier, please do not hesitate to reach out to us anytime. We are very happy to help. Thanks again for joining us, and I hope you all have a good evening, and thank you to Dit and Tammy for joining us this evening. We all look forward to working with you all in the near future. Thank you.